In 2016, an American businessman raised the price of Daraprim, a drug used to treat toxoplasmosis, from $1,350 a pill to $750. That's a price difference of 55. Before I dive into this smug 5'7" clown, I do not think he's a sociopath. It is very stupid to assume that someone is clinically insane based off anything but professional opinion. I do think he's a stupid person who either doesn't understand how money works, or more likely, he knows what he's doing and he's draining the money out of a literally dying minority. With that aside, onto the video. In his house, we got guitars, toy helicopters, and a Wu-Tang Clan album he bought for $2 million.
This is a 2005 Petrus Magnum.
Okay.
So we're gonna have some of this, maybe play some chess or do whatever you want.
It's been a while since I've done this. I'm assuming you go first, right?
I do. So you play the Sicilian defense frequently, or?
No, I don't know what that even means.
Okay, but it doesn't appear you know how to play chess very well.
No.
He basically goes on to bully this woman for not being good at chess until we get to the actually somewhat interesting parts.
I got interested in stocks as a kid, and my friends made fun of me all the time. It's such a silly, I'm threatening your queen, so just keep that in mind. Queen's the most important piece.
A lot of people think that you are evil.
Am I evil? No. I think I'm the opposite of evil, right? I mean, I think that almost it became a thing where I wanted to say, oh yeah, I am evil. You know, let me be the bad guy. And I started doing funny and fun stuff that maybe even extended that concept of, yeah, sure, I'm evil. I'll be the Bond villain.
Here he is literally saying that he accepts the public evil narrative, but also states that he's in fact the opposite of evil, and he's actually a hero.
I don't like most drug companies. I think most of them do a bad job. I think that I'm different. Yeah, I'm a capitalist. I'd love to make an even bigger fortune than I've got now, but I'm not going to do it at the expense of a human life. You know, we sell our drugs for $1 to the government, but we sell our drugs for $7.50 a pill to Walmart, to ExxonMobil, to all these big companies, and they pay full price because f them. Why shouldn't they?
They shouldn't, because you aren't sticking it to the man, throwing fists at the beasts of pharmaceuticals. You're forcing the people who need the medicine, who shop there, to pay that outrageous amount. Not everyone has access to the services where they could take advantage of the $1 a pill discount. That is not a valid argument to raise the prices 50 times over an already expensive amount.
So how did you decide that you wanted to purchase Daraprim as opposed to any other drug that treats a rare illness?
Well, my team, looks for drugs to buy, and I've been fascinated by infections for a long time. My sister was dying of an infection, and we didn't know it was an infection. It was this just this strange symptomatology where she couldn't move. So I've always been sort of fascinated by infections because they're alive. They're alive within you, and it's amazing because we need drugs to kill these bugs. And for Daraprim, the opportunity presented itself where we could buy this medicine. This medicine could have been for sale, so we approached this company and we ended up buying it. So we knew ahead of time that we were going to raise the price. You know, we paid so much for that medicine relative to the amount of money it was making that we knew that we had to raise the price. It wasn't going to be, and the company selling it to us knew.
When you do that, does that cause healthcare premiums to increase?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, so the U.S. drug industry is a $500 billion industry. And one drug, even the biggest drug in the world, can't influence healthcare premiums.
You cannot say that $100 million is not a lot compared to a $500 billion market. You own one drug, one medication that you boosted the price to $100 million in the market. A huge amount for a single medicine. Just because every other pill combined adds up to $500 billion does not make you $100 million marginable.
Drugs are only a portion of healthcare in general. So doctors and hospitals are actually bigger than drug costs. Drug costs are about 20% of all healthcare costs, and 80% is hospitals and physicians and things like that. And drugs really take it on the chin as the major culprit. No one sort of complains about hospitals or doctors.
People complain about drug prices being so absurd because they simply don't need to be. As you said yourself, it is a $500 billion market, not regulated by the government. You are a capitalist. Hospital prices have a reason to be so high. Drugs, in most cases, do not need to be.
I mean, I have a big mouth, and that's kind of the reason a lot of this stuff has happened. That was a good move, for once. And but there are more expensive drugs. There are bigger drug price increases. I'm not and I'm not saying that there's a slippery slope of saying well, I'm not the worst child abuser. I'm not the worst domestic violence person. That's not what I'm saying at all.
For someone who is not saying something at all, he sure seems to be saying that a lot. Even if there are bigger drug increases, they aren't targeted at such a minority and aren't the only ones making that particular medicine.
Because I don't think that'd be an appropriate argument. I defend what we've done. I think it's a good thing. But at the same time, if you want to think it's a bad thing, then you can look at other companies. And in fact, the last thing I'll say is about 60 to 70% of our patients actually do get it for free. And you can imagine if you extend this kind of offer out to people, they'll take advantage of it. And they do. It's hard to run a business like that.
Even if 60 to 70% are getting it for free, that's still 40 to 30% that are paying 10 grand plus a bottle. Not everyone can get it for free from the government. You are just adding more hoops to jump through so you can make a bit more cash.
Testifying and saying that, there have been shortages at their hospitals in emergency situations, and they can't afford to stock the drug. Beyond just individuals being able to appeal to you personally for free, how do you respond to that kind of an issue?
Before the price increase, most hospitals had a bottle lying around, and they were able to I feel it's getting hot in here. Had a bottle, and they, they're sort of, because this drug is so rarely used. There's 5,000 hospitals in the U.S. There's only a few thousand people that get this illness to begin with. So most hospitals will actually never see anyone with this illness. And so if you have to hold a bottle just in case, and now the price of that bottle is just skyrocketed, I would complain too. And we got all these complaints, and we decided to say, why don't we make you a tiny bottle that is cheaper, we'll lower the price just for you, and that seems to have solved the situation as far as I can tell. If you can't afford my medicine, you know where to find me. I'll be online, I'll be on Twitter. There's a way to easily send me a message that says, I can't get this drug, the copay's too high, help me out, Martin. I will run to help you. I've got nothing better to do.
The narrative that you're just so nice, if they can't afford the $45,000 price tag, that they can just go on Twitter and ask for some medicine. I think there's a 0% chance that this has or will happen.
I'm happy, I don't care. For Daraprim to cost more money, fine. If that's the price I have to pay to find a new medicine for a dying kid, I'll raise it even more. What do I care? Microsoft is going to lose money, Walmart's going to lose money. Why are we crying about this? It's not like there's people that are actually going to suffer from this.
People will suffer because they have to pay 50 times the price of what it should be. Not everyone has health care that can cover it. Not everyone can afford to buy a Wu-Tang Clan album for $2 million. Not everyone is as rich as you.
If you took Daraprim right now, you'd get very sick. And I don't see why that needs to be the case. I think you should be able to take a drug that doesn't hurt you. That's not too much to ask.
The statement that the prices are only higher because of advancements in the medicine checks out only to a certain extent. Raising the price by 50 times the original cost is not within reason of making it better for the people who need it.
You know what? Let's take an honest look at this medicine. It kind of sucks. And again, we're taking a big gamble. We have no idea if our second generation drug will work.
If you're going to develop a new version of a drug, it doesn't justify raising the price to this amount. It doesn't justify it more if you have not tested it extensively enough and are taking a gamble whether or not a 45 grand bottle of medicine will help them or not.
Countries that set drug prices, that's sort of an imaginary concept. No country can set a drug price. Drug companies set drug prices.
We've been waiting for Shkreli to make a statement. If he does, here he is. Let's take a listen.
On the advice of counsel, I will not be giving an opening statement.
She needs Daraprim in order to survive.
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
Did you say that?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
Done anything wrong?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege and respectfully decline to answer your question.
There you can answer some questions.
I intend to follow the advice of my counsel, not yours.
I intend to use the advice of my counsel, not yours. On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized for a moment?
No.
Are you listening?
Yes. Mr. Shkreli, it's your intention to decline all answers to the questions and invoke your Fifth Amendment right?
Yes.
Given that the witness has indicated that he does not intend to answer any questions, and out of respect for his constitutional rights, I ask now that the committee excuse the witness from the table without objection, so ordered. We'll pause for a moment as Mr. Shkreli is escorted out.
Martin Shkreli is currently in prison for 7 years until 2025 for fraud. So, we'll see. Hey, thank you for sitting through this nightmare of a bad video. Consider subscribing, please. I would. You don't know the lengths what I would. Oh boy. Thanks for watching.
I love drugs. I think I'm a hero, let alone evil.